Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop and welcome to everybody who is new here to the channel. So in this video I wanted to answer the question, can you braze a high carbon steel plate onto a Harbor Freight anvil? I chose to do a traditional brazing technique, which would be in the fire of joining two pieces together by having a nice brass have a bit of brass in between two pieces of steel. You throw a little bit of flux on there, you melt it till just the brass melts and adheres the two together, and then you shut down the forge and you let it cool, and when it solidifies, the brass should cling on to both pieces. Well, in the attempt of doing that, we actually created quite a dangerous situation here in the shop, and that's the part that I want to talk about today of why you should never do this in your own home smithy. Everything went fine. I went ahead and forged out the face plate like I'd done in the forge welding attempt on the Harbor Freight anvil. Went ahead and forged out the grater blade. I went ahead and forged it flat, got it all prepped and ready to go, all cleaned up, ready to be brazed to the anvil surface. And then for the anvil itself, it's already machined flat and doesn't require a whole lot of prep work other than just sticking in the fire. So I stuck it in the fire, brought it up to heat separate of the actual grater blade itself, and then I put the grater blade right next to it, and I was warming them both in the fire. When they got real close, and I would say bright red temperature to almost probably a brighter orange temperature. Let's call it a brighter orange temperature. I then went ahead, threw some flux on the faceplate, and then put on the brass. Well, the brass sat there, it was doing its thing, it was getting warmed up. When I saw the brass starting to turn red in color, and I mean cherry red in color, that's the brass itself started picking up color, I knew that it was close to melting. So then I took the Harbor Freight anvil and I actually put it on top of the brass and was hoping by doing so it would take it that extra level and then go ahead and melt and join the two surfaces. Now, all that is great in theory, and given the right circumstances, I do believe that this would have worked to connect the two pieces, the faceplate to the anvil. Now, whether that would have worked long term or not, that's a completely different story. Once you start hammering on it, would it actually hold up to the abuse in hammer work? I'm not so certain about that. In this particular video, the big problem that we had is that once the brass actually reached its point where it would melt, it melted and it went down and the anvil seated on top of the faceplate. The problem with that was any of the excess brass that was between the two surfaces of the material, it got squirted out to the sides and ran down to the hottest portion of the fire. And that instantly caused that brass to go to its critical point where it turns in from a liquid into a vapor. And if you know about brass, brass has zinc in it, and when that zinc flames off and fumes off, you get some galvanic poisoning or poisonous gases rather that come off of that. And on a big piece like this, that much brass that had squirted out and went into the fire pot being superheated and turned into a poisonous vapor, my shop filled up with that zinc gas. Well, again, that zinc poisonous gas, it went up into the shop and filled it up pretty darn quick. So quick, in fact, I had to vacate the premises. I was in here long enough to shut the blower off, turn the camera off, and basically run out of the shop. And I kept out of the shop, and it took a full hour with the fan running. I had a blower running with the doors wide open. It took a full hour and a half before I could enter the shop again because it had literally put that much of a poisonous cloud and haze in the air. And now, for those of you who don't know, working with zinc and other things like cadmium and some of the other the metals that could become turn into a vapor or heavy metals, it is not good to breathe that in. And in fact, and in some cases, it can make you very sick, ill, and even possibly kill you. So you want to stay away from that as much as possible. So the cautionary tale, everybody at this point is probably, get to the point, Roy. Well, here's the point that I'm putting this out here for. There is a way that I have devised that I could make take two on this and do it in a safe way to where I would not be at any harm or danger. The problem with that is then I would be instructing guys who potentially don't know the dangers on what to look out for in doing something that's very dangerous and harmful. A Harbor Freight anvil is just not worth your life out there. I'm in a building that is a 40 by 50 building by 32 feet tall to the peak, and it's an open air workshop. With that being said, I had enough room for all them poisonous gases to go to allow me enough time to get out of the shop. Still very scary and very, very dangerous. And it turned dangerous and potentially deadly like that. It was going good. I saw it melt. I was getting ready to shut off the blower, and then again it went down and it created these very toxic fumes, and the shop filled quick, way quicker than I thought it would. So with that being said, think about that with how big my shop is. You in your own garage with an 8-foot ceiling, how fast that could fill your shop up with poisonous, toxic smokes that you are breathing in. Or you have to run away from it and you're leaving a fire blaring and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And you take the initiative like, I got to go back in there and shut it off. And that's when it gets you. So you may ask, next question, well, Roy, did you suffer any ill effects from it? In the time it took me to shut the forge down, to shut the forge off, hit the stop on the camera, open the big doors to try to let it air out in here, yes, I did suffer ill effects. Hence, this is the second day. I had a very rough night of sleep with a lot of chest congestion, a lot of upsetness, nausea, metal taste in my mouth. I had a good dose of it, and I wasn't in the shop more than maybe 60 seconds, a minute tops, before I got the heck out of my own shop, and this is a very big, very well ventilated space. So I won't be attempting doing any more brazing on Harbor Freight anvils on this scale, even though there is a method where I could do it safely and actually make it work. But I just wanted to take and be honest out there with the blacksmithing community and clear up a little bit about this Harbor Freight series. So that'll lead me into this if you'll indulge me for just a few more moments. The whole point in doing this Harbor Freight anvil series is not to take and dog on Harbor Freight themselves or trash your particular anvil that you may be able to get. In fact, it's exactly the contrary. I'm trying to fully explore beginner-asked questions. I'm trying to fully explore and answer those questions with empirical evidence, not anecdotal evidence, because it's my own personal opinion or belief on it. If you ask, hey, could you JB weld the anvil together? Well, we can give it a shot and try. I'm wasting my money so you don't have to. Same thing with this, brazing an anvil top on. I've been asked that so many times that I figured, okay, you know what? We'll try it in the most professional and safe way possible and see what happens. And it still presented a very dangerous situation in the end. So I can fully recommend never, ever, ever do this in your own shop. You are risking your life for very little reward. And what happened after it was all said and done? The faceplate popped right off anyhow. All the brazing and all the brass in there in the world, couple whacks with a hammer, and it fell right off. So I gave myself a night of illness, potentially could have been worse, all for the faceplate to pop off in the long run anyhow, right? Doesn't sound like a good cost to benefit ratio there. So when you see me do something with the Harbor Freight anvils, I am neither making a statement nor am I, or am I asking a question, so to speak. What I'm doing is I'm going through the most asked questions about Harbor Freight anvils. Well, why don't you just weld a plate on the top of it? Trust me, we'll get to that. There is an entire series on Harbor Freight anvils here on the channel. I'm not sponsored by Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight probably doesn't even know I exist, other than, heck, the algorithm probably played one of their ads in front of my video here. I don't get paid for this. This is all spent out of my own cash, and I'm doing it for educational purposes. I'm not trying to weigh in on whether you should buy a Harbor Freight anvil or you should not. I'm simply just trying to answer those questions that a beginner may have and be a resource out there to the community. So without me waffling on anymore, thank you for watching this video. Take this cautionary tale, use it, share it around. You know, if someone asks, hey, can I just braze a hardened faceplate to a Harbor Freight anvil? Now you can say with empirical evidence a resounding no. It's not a good idea. The cost to benefit ratio is just not there. So that's it. God bless each and every last one of you. Thank you to the channel members who fund this channel and make this content possible. I really couldn't do it without all of you. And we'll catch you on the next one.